Yeah, so seems like we started. Hi guys, here's Alex Pisanov. We're in episode 3 of Future Returns podcast, where we meet with investors and entrepreneurs to look into the future and speak about how this all works and where are the opportunities today. Our guest today is Alex Berenov, founder of the company Irene. He recently exited. And maybe let's start with that. Alex, how are you? And how does it feel after all these years to make this?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hi, Alex. Hi, everyone who will be listening it. So it's really an awesome kind of experience. First of all, yeah, so um, it actually took so many years that I haven't imagined. So I had to put so much of the time and efforts in it to make it work. At some point, I even didn't believe that it will be actually an exit for me. Yeah, as usual. So it has taken so much longer than I expected. At some point, it was actually really great to happen finally. Yeah. So and then yeah, I'm feeling really good. Yeah. So first of all, yeah. So it's really a great experience when you sell something that actually hasn't existed before. So it could be compared maybe to an artist who is like selling his paintings. Yeah. Um, and I never had an experience like that, so I cannot do anything with my hands. Yeah, so and the only thing that I can do is just to set up a company, make it a business, and then try to find a strategic buyer or just a buyer.
Yeah, how did you arrive at this idea? Was it a calculated bet? You were reading researches, thinking about what to do, or it was a leap of faith, more of that thing? How did
Uh,
that one?
so yeah, first of all, I guess the short answer, so if you ever engage in business, you know that many things uh just happen. Yeah, so there is no like you can predict if it will be a success or failure. So much of the things are attributed to the luck, basically. Yeah, so I got lucky to some extent. Yeah, that's the reason why it all happened. Looking back, um in 2016, when I founded the company, I had zero experience in business. I had zero understanding of the way startup work, and I have zero experience dealing with investors. Yeah, so actually all odds were against me. Yeah, so the likelihood of failure was much higher. However, the reason why I started this business was pretty much obvious. Uh, the company where I worked at that time, so went bankrupt, and I was started to look for a job, and I can't find one. Actually, to my surprise, it was some kind of a bad luck for me, as I thought at that point, and I was really frightened because I got my mortgage that I need to pay every month. I don't have enough money actually to pay for my car credit also, and out of a sudden I had no choice rather than to do the business in a sphere where I never worked. Yeah, and I don't have any friends or any connections. Yeah, and it was insane kind of a bet that I made, but I had no choice. I had no plan B. So practically, I've been working uh, in the fall of 2016, um, spending my own money because we had a few investors that got interested in the company and the concept. So the concept of our solution was that sales representatives and the merchandisers in a retail tend not to do their job, not because they are so lazy, but just because no one is actually looking after what they're doing with the shelves, if they are putting products on the shelves or not. Yeah. However, it's a really important kind of a KPI for companies like PepsiCo, Henkel, Unilever, for the offline brick and mortar retail, because basically people are buying something that they see on a shelf. Yeah. And so on a scale, this kind of a challenge worth billions of USD in all major markets. Yeah. So then absence of the products and lost sales basically. And I've been looking into retail. I really like the vertical, and we've been experimenting with a few ideas what we can do. So the first idea was some kind of a fleet management system, so that we could tell exactly where the branded vans are, and where the merchandisers are, basically by connecting our application with the GPS. Yeah, so pretty easy. Yeah, and so people could just arrange different kind of routes. But when I started actually digging into this kind of idea, it turned out that the idea is like 30 years old. There are so many companies already in the market, and they are feeling not so good. And I actually didn't want to become the founder of a company no one actually wants. Yeah, and I've started digging inside some sub problems, and suddenly, out of the discussions with the people from the industry, I heard, okay, yeah, so maybe you could like show her the solution that will help to recognize products on the shelves. And this is the first time when I heard it from multiple people, and I've started actually to test it. Yeah, so I started. So first of all, I made a deck. Yeah, so claiming that I already have the solution. So fake it until we make it. Yeah, so
Yeah, you
it's a
should
kind of a
first
thing
test
that work.
if there is a demand. Yeah.
Right. So and then I started actually sending this deck to many people. I've been doing the outbound email marketing back in 2016. And it was something actually that I already learned in my previous job a few years ago. And I was really good at like sending and composing emails really targeted at a specific person. And I've been like researching internet, looking for guys from the industry who can help, who can tell if it's really worth, or maybe who could buy. And in a few months, I got really good insights that this kind of a solution is really in demand. That players that are already like available on the market are too expensive. They don't have any kind of an automation, so they've been recognizing products on the shelves half automatic, half manually. So the accuracy of their computer vision was low, and they couldn't rely on it. And also the process wasn't real time. Yeah, so they've been losing actually half of the value of a solution. So people should have taken the photo, and then nothing happens. Then maybe in an hour or maybe in a week, the results will just pop in, and but there will be nothing you can do with this. So that's how it all started off.
Yeah. So how did you actually move from this idea, this concept, from studying if there is a demand to building the product? Because I guess this is a highly technical stuff like computer vision, neural networks, all that the world is mad about these days. Did you hire anyone like or
So yeah, it's a good idea. So good question. Yeah. So first of all, my idea of how we should run the business was the following. So I thought, okay, so if the demand is real, then someone should buy. So if no one will buy, then it's not real. So and we shouldn't do anything. We shouldn't hire not a single developer. And for like in 2016, we had a few pilots that were done manually. So I've been doing the recognition myself. So I've been clicking and calculating number of the products on the shelves manually. I've done maybe 2,000 500 photos on one weekend, calculating like 50 products per one image. Yeah, so it's really close to 100,000 of products that I've calculated in one weekend, and out of a sudden it all collapsed, and it meant that I need to do it like during night. Yeah, because on Monday I should have already delivered the results. Yeah, and anyway, so pilot stage is really easy. So you can sell a pilot to anybody. Any kind of a solution could be sold on a pilot, even the kind of solution that nobody wants. Yeah. However, when you see the transition from the pilot to the rollout, yeah, then it becomes more serious. Yeah. Still, there is some kind of a chance that people don't understand what they are buying. Yeah. However, it shows and it indicates that there is something about it. Yeah. And up until we had our first pilot customers after the pilot, we actually hadn't bothered about doing any kind of development practically. Yeah. So it was all manual. The only thing that we've done some really easy light version of the solution through the Telegram bot. Yeah. Because Telegram worked pretty well on any kind of a device. Yeah. So we don't need to develop an application for iOS, for Android, support big number of different kinds of devices, which is really expensive. It costs like, well, at the point was like 200,000 USD to develop a really good application. And so we started doing the pilots, and then trying actually to persuade people to move from the pilot stage to the rollout stage. And then when actually we started doing the development part.
Well, that's interesting. I never thought that you first did all this like manually. I thought you just started with hiring someone using your savings to fund their salaries. That's interesting. Okay, that's like I think this already contains some sort of advice to entrepreneurs to stay lean from the very beginning when you have no resources, to allow for extended team. And yeah, I'm just thinking about what implications does this have for like investment management business.
I guess the same. I guess the same. I guess in investment management you also have this some kind of a portion of the all money invested in the fund that you need actually to spend. Yeah. On the investments, yeah, and on yourself, yeah. So just so the lesser is the amount you spend on yourself, the more money you have actually available. The same in a startup, yeah. So of course it's really easy and it's really good when you have a lot of money and you can just hire people at the very beginning. You have zero customers and you'll start building the products that no one knows, no one needs. Because once you hire actually your first developer, they start multiplying. So you have
They bring
one,
their
and then
friends.
yeah, so like something like that. Yeah, so you have zero customers, but you already have 3 developers. How that happened? Just and I remember, yeah. So when we had this kind of experience, we already have a few developers, but we had no one basically as a customer. Rollout, and now I understand actually that we spend and burn some cash actually on it. Yeah, so we don't need that many of developers. Just one developer will be enough. If there is no customers, basically, then you can just rush and hire someone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. How did your previous work experience like influence your ideas and attitude towards building the company? Like, because I read your LinkedIn profile and it says that you were with many firms as a B2B sales expert, and maybe like that's why you understand this. Like, you bear this logic of you should first start with your customers to see if there is a demand, then like building on top of that. Because like I guess you and me and other people out there frequently meet teams that like are building product and not talking to customers, and they end up with huge overheads and no revenue at all, and that's why they were like using their superpowers, relying on their superpowers, and their superpowers can typically be like software development and not sales. And like, do you consider sales as your superpower, or like, is there anything else that
Uh,
you?
yeah, I guess sales is the most important part of any kind of a business. So except maybe building rockets. So you don't need to sell rockets, yeah, spacecrafts. However, if it's a normal kind of a business, if it's startup business, so there are so many people that can do really insane kind of a complicated stuff, but cannot sell it. And there are just a few people who can really make a business out of some kind of a solution. So I guess to some in 2016, many things actually happened before, yeah, already. So I've been working to promote international companies in new markets. I've been doing the market research. I've been setting up meetings, yeah, out doing cold calling, basically doing email marketing even before actually it's existed, like in a such a way, yeah, as it is now, yeah. Then what I've been doing, I've been helping international companies with negotiations on the new markets. So I've been attending a lot of exhibitions. I've been talking, and I start to develop my understanding when people really want something. Because many times when I've been
I have a
helping
question.
some,
Let me ask a question. How do
yeah,
you
sure,
tell?
sure.
How do you tell if people have this? Like, if people want your product, how do you tell the difference between the two? Yes or no? Any tips?
Uh, it's um, it's not easy actually to explain, but I will try to make it some kind of maybe some clear points. First of all, when people are really interested, they are really involved in the conversation with you. Yeah. So first of all, when you pitch your product, uh, I guess it's really important to really be attentive to the behavior of the people you are pitching to. Yeah. So if they're not paying that much of attention to it, it's a really bad sign. If they're not asking any kind of questions, it's also really bad. Yeah. So if they're not engaged in any kind of conversation, they're just listening to you, and just nothing happens. If they're not like expressing any kind of reaction afterwards, so yeah, so you just stop and they, okay. So basically, it seems easy. Yeah. Then if you ask some kind of questions and they also don't bother answering it with some kind of details that will help you. So, for instance, you're pitching something and you ask if your uh, potential customer has this kind of a need and how to measure the losses if they want to use your solution, and they just don't bother answering you. So it actually a really bad sign. Yeah, and if you're seeing this like on every meeting, then it's something wrong with the solution or
Yeah,
service that you're pitching.
that could be interesting. So you can just monitor how people react to what you're offering, and if they seem to like express signs of interest, then you proceed. And
Yeah, so people are not wearing masks. Yeah, so they have emotions. Yeah, and so their emotions are really sometimes easy to spot on their faces, even though they try to hide it. So, and if you just be really attentive, you can predict actually if they have interest in talking with you in your solution, or they just, I don't know, maybe have some spare time to spend. Yeah, just.
yeah. So like, is it correct to say that the most important thing in sales is to like train this ability to recognize emotions and reactions?
Yeah, yeah. So, I guess there is a huge shift in the sales. the way people are selling now. Yeah, so previously, I guess the perfect illustration of a salesperson would be someone that is just talking really loud, wears tie, and like really pretty much like the guy from some movies. Yeah. Today, a good sales guy is someone that actually is talking less and listens. Yeah, really attentive. He's really a nice guy, and it's really a pleasure to deal with him. Yeah, and he's not selling. Yeah, he just talks with you. Yeah, and try to find the way to help you. Yeah, so that's a good kind of a salesperson. So he's not interested actually in doing the pitch or doing the monologue like for half an hour. He just talks, yeah, and not sells.
Yeah, I understand. So, like, what major changes occurred to sales process as the world moved from like offline to online after the COVID pandemics?
Oh, it's a good question. So, first of all, from one side, from one on the one hand, the sales process has become easier. Yeah. So you don't need to spend time doing meetings in person. You can do it from your office. You can save a lot of time traveling. And people got used to it because previously people actually didn't want to do Zoom calls. Yeah. So they would want to meet in person. And even if you were in a different country, they would tell, okay, if you need this, you need just to come over. And it was sometimes really like expensive because you would travel and you actually would have like zero understanding of what's going on next. Yeah. So because there are people that just like uh, you really like to use their powers. Yes. So if you need something, you just need to come. Yeah. Everyone understood that okay, there is no need to travel. There is no option to travel. Then we need to set up remote communications via Zoom, meets, and so on. It was good. Yeah. The bad part of it was actually that meeting someone in person uh, when someone is actually in your local market meant that it's really you can get really good communication, really good conversation. Because over Zoom, people tend to be uh, more like working sometimes automatically. Yeah, so they don't that sincere during the video calls. Yeah, because it's much easier. And the conversion rate from person meetings compared to like Zoom calls are higher. Yeah, so it's really easy. It's much easier to sell over personal meeting than over Zoom. But
Does it also? Excuse me. Yeah, please go
yeah, but it's happened. But it's now changes. Yeah, so people got used to it. Yeah.
on. Does it lead to increased competition in sales? Like previously, if you had a LinkedIn profile, you would expect like one inbound request per week. I don't know the numbers. Now you are constantly bombarded with like, hi, 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 hi. Please take a look at what I
Um.
have.
So it's good. It's also a good question. No, I don't think about that the competition has increased because you know that when someone actually learns something new, like maybe email marketing, outbound LinkedIn messages, then people move to some other thing. Yeah. So people that are now doing extensive outbound email campaigns don't pay much attention to personal brand. Yeah. So their conversion rate via just the outbound is not really high. When they learn that they need to invest into the personal brand, then they will need to spend at least a year building it.
Yeah, then they will start recording podcasts.
Yeah, yeah. So, but when they start doing this, you already had a big audience. Uh, thousands of people already subscribed to it, and you have like the upper hand. Yeah, so you have some kind of advantage. So and the same actually with the LinkedIn and other things basically. So when something becomes like a common knowledge, it means that it's not working the way
Yeah.
it worked some years ago. The same with the remote sales. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that has some implications on pretty much any business idea. That
Yeah.
if something
Yeah.
becomes overcrowded, then it means that there is no economic gains, economic profits, like the term from the textbook, that you can earn some above market returns on some investment. Like, okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. 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 I have the same kind of idea.
Yeah, Alex, I think pretty much anyone would be interested in learning how did you get to YC? That's the funny fact.
Uh, yeah.
Little
So
funny fact.
YC was actually kind of a dream that I had. Yeah. So I saw really good companies that been there and they really like it. Um, and once I met actually a friend also from a startup, and he told that they've been at the interview with the YC, and they had a really small business. And I thought, come on, yeah. So if they can do this, I can also do this. Yeah, and I've actually decided that I need to be in YC. But that time I already applied 6 times and got rejected every time, and never had even a chance to be on the interview
But
with the
these
YC
but
partners.
these 6 times were other ideas, not Irene.
Same.
Oh,
So you basically can apply twice a year, yeah. So for the winter batch and for summer batch, and so we've been already like 3 years old, and I've been like applying almost every time. Yeah, there was an application open, but yeah, so
so
nothing
what
happened.
changed is pretty much the maturity of the business.
I no, actually no. So because YC invest into early stage companies, and many of the companies are just at the idea stage, so have zero revenue. I guess what has changed is actually my understanding of the way we should pitch the company. So I've started actually looking all and reading all the materials about the YC that I could find online. So I've been listening to the interviews of the YC alumni with the YC partners. I've read a few books about YC, trying to get their philosophy. Then I started actually rewriting the application form. So I understood actually that I had actually a really funny application. I had a few jokes in it, and when I reread it, I understood actually that it was a disaster. So just because the jokes were not funny, they were out of the place, so they shouldn't be there. Yeah, and no one actually got them. So I had something. Yeah. So in YC there is some kind of a question. What kind of university you graduated from? And I was telling something. I was naming the university, and then told. But so I've graduated from university you never heard of.
Okay.
So
Uh, uh,
and
g-
I started fixing it.
yeah, good that that you didn't write like University of Life.
Yeah. So just and then when I reread it, I understood why they were not inviting us for an interview. And what I've done actually, I found the guy who would do some kind of a Zoom calls with me, and will put down everything that I will say.
Like mock interviews.
On the contrary, yeah. So for instance, we've been doing the application, and I've been like freestyling all kind of answers I could think of. Yeah, And then he will write down everything that I will just tell. And then I will just reread it, yeah, and select the one that actually is the best. We've done like maybe 5 sessions with this kind of method. I reread it, rearranged it, and reapply it, yeah. Then it's the first time actually we got some kind of a reply that, yeah, so the application is really good, so that we are in top 5% of all the startups. However, they are not inviting us for the interview. I understood, okay, so that we are really close, really close. Again, we've done a few sessions with the guy. I understood actually where I missed something, yeah. We've done really good. I've done a really good kind of introduction, video introduction for the YC. So I was trying actually to think how should I explain something that is not exist. Yeah, just software. Yeah. What I've done actually, I went shopping. So I bought bottles of Pepsi, Kellogg's, some products, some laundry, and I brought it. Yeah. So I sat at my sofa and tell, okay, so my name is Alex. And like we're working with the companies like PepsiCo. Yeah. So we've been recognize this kind of bottles for them. Kellogg's, for instance. Yeah. So cereals. Yeah. So we recognize this kind of cereals. We are working also with Unilever. So you might know Lipton tea. Yeah. So we also can recognize this kind of a box. Yeah. With a different kind of a shape. And actually, I guess it was really critical. And my understanding that they really liked it. They never told it, yeah. But once actually I've changed the video introduction, they invited us. So the application form itself hasn't changed that much from the previous time.
Yeah, and all along that way, you have to actually build the business.
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
trying to figure out how to crack their armor and get in. That's perfect.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, what's the most important lesson you learned from there?
Um, so actually, I really like the kind of philosophy. The first point is that you need to talk to your customers. That's actually the most important part of the YC. So
Yeah,
if
but you
you,
already knew that.
I already knew it. They've just made it even more clear. Yeah, for me and my co-founder. So don't need to shed away from your like customers, even there are some troubles with the solution. So you need just go straight and talk. Then that investors and investments actually are not that important. And so they are not any kind of a marker that everything is going right. Yeah. So it's just a marker that's you need to burn some cash and you cannot take them from your customers. Yeah. Or maybe you're scaling your business. Yeah. It's a good point. It will be a good point. Yeah. And so their idea is actually that you need to chase your customers and try to sell more rather than actually try to fundraise more than you need. Yeah. And it was pretty much clear kind of a point they've been making. Then they've been telling that, okay, so many companies really become like popular, famous. But if it's not you, you shouldn't worry. So because all kind of a press coverage, it could be helpful if it's actually happening easy. If not, then you shouldn't invest your time into it because everyone will forget about this, and you just need to work in your business rather than again pitching to the press. Yeah, it was really interesting kind of a idea. Then they've been telling many stories, personal stories about their own businesses. I mean, the YC partners, how many kind of troubles they had. And the idea was actually that sometimes it all starts bad, but it works out, but sometimes not. And there is no clear answer actually what to do. And no one actually knows what to do in a business. So it's like really a mystery. Yeah, so no one can see the future. Yeah. However, if you're really close with with your customers, and there are many people that really like your solution, then you're doing something right. So that's kind of a
Yeah,
philosophy that I really like.
I guess the customers can tell you like earlier than others that there is something wrong with your within your niche or within your product or like
Yeah, yeah.
business model. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Like looking back at your track record with Irene, are there any things that you would have done differently from what you did?
Uh, so yes and no. Yeah. So we've been doing actually what we've been doing. Yeah. I cannot tell that actually we've changed a lot. I had actually more kind of understanding how the fundraising process work. Yeah. From the inside, from the office hours with the YC partners. We had so many meeting with investors that I never had any in any point in my time, yeah, before. So we had like 60 meetings, so maybe 70 meetings per month, yeah, with investors. And it was really kind of experience. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you really understand.
that happened during your YC term, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I meant like speaking about your like overall history with
Okay.
Irene, like not the YC period.
Okay, so in terms of the YC philosophy in a company, so it was actually really interesting because in 2021 we started investing into the customer success department in our company. It was really like in February, yeah, when we understood that we were really close of losing some of the key customers. Yeah. Then in summer we've been to YC, and we had a lot of sessions also about the customer success, and it was actually was giving us a lot of the insights of how we should organize it, and it enhanced our strategy. Then there were many really useful stuff about running the pilots that unfortunately I had to invent myself. So by that time, so I've been seeing the kind of content recommendations of how to run the pilot, and I already knew it because I've ruined many pilots, lost many customers, and already understood what to do during the pilot. It was useful, yet I already knew it. Yeah, but it was really good kind of ideas. Um, there are many things about the sales process, and in 2021 I've started understanding more about the scalable sales process from Y Combinator, because I so things like sales development representatives, account executive, kind of words that actually don't told much to me at that time. Yeah, but it was pretty common in Silicon Valley at that time already for years, and I had no knowledge about it. So I've started actually Googling it, and I found really like a good book that is really famous called Predictable Revenue by the guy who invented Salesforce sales process. And then I started actually doing my homework also. First in theory, after the YC, I've been talking to many people there, how they do this. It also was really important part of my personal development. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess if you had that knowledge earlier, you would have it applied and
Yes, yes. So YC actually tried. What YC did was really interesting. So they've tried actually to make everyone who attended to be professionals in all the things that they are doing by setting up some kind of a example. or benchmark, so that you not necessarily know how to do something, but at least you understand what should be the right kind of outcome. So you know the answer, you need to make the way to it. Yeah. So
You just know what works. They show you that what works.
yeah,
You can
yeah. So they know.
you can adapt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I guess we're close to finish. Alex, I think one last question today. Like, you're in front of many entrepreneurs who will watch this video, and what would be the single piece of advice you can share with them?
Recently, actually, I thought about one thing. Yeah, so that if you're doing the startup, it should be business. So it should be business as soon as possible. You need to understand how you could make money for yourself as a founder, for your family. Otherwise, it will be really a painful kind of process. Yeah. So if you cannot figure out how to make money of what you've done with the solution, there is no need to sell your car, to to take some loans, personal loans. There is no need to sell your house because you will get nothing. There is a really big chance that you won't succeed and you would get nothing. Yeah. So and so I because I've done it. Yeah. So I've been taking loans, personal loans. I've been selling car. But I've succeeded, but it doesn't prove that I was right. So I guess the best advice I can give is not to go insane with ideas, to be like cold-blooded and trying actually to calculate the chances. Yeah, and trying to make the business. If you're not, if something is not becoming a business, okay, so let it go.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So at least part of the suffering is not necessary.
Yeah. So business is really fun. You don't need to suffer. It could be complicated, but you don't necessarily need to to sleep under the bridge to become a success. Yeah, it doesn't mean that. So you just need to find the most optimal way of making money.
Yeah, and not focusing on finding the most comfortable bridge to sleep under.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. It was Alex Berenov. Alex, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Let me